Here I am again making another video. This time it's a video about a street directory, an old street directory, the one that you can see here, the Harris's 1916 Street and Road Directory of Brisbane and Suburbs. Just make me a bit smaller so you can see the whole thing. I discovered this street directory is on the Queensland Library, the Oxley Library, I think, of Brisbane City, State Library, the Queensland Library anyway. I'll show you where I got it later on how to get to it. It's a 1916 street directory. There's also the 1917 one of Brisbane. They're out of copyright now, as long as I give Queensland Library credit for having it, you're allowed to use it. In fact, you can download it, which is what I've done. I'll show you how to do that later on. You'll see it says there are 41 maps, all right? And I think it was 2 shillings, the book, all right? So this is a PDF of it. I'm using Acrobat Reader to actually show the book of it. You'll notice, even though it's only 41 maps, there's like a couple of hundred pages. Most of the pages are in advertising and the index. The index isn't particularly good. It's interrelated in between the maps. There's only 41 maps. In the later edition, there's a couple of extra maps. So there's a lot of advertising. The thing that's good about the advertising is you can actually go through, and interesting to look at what was advertised in 1916, right? Real estate agents, home and land agent, a finance agency. I don't know. By the way, there's somebody obviously handwritten on the street directory. I notice it's called a street and road directory. I don't know what the distinction between street and road is. Righto. Other things are advertised. Let's get down to the first map. All right, we'll just scroll down. All right, in fact, I know where the first map is. It's on page 33. I just touch that. I can go to page 33. All right, okay. And there we are. There's the first map. All right, just get rid of some of this other stuff that's on the screen. And I can zoom in. By the way, I'm doing this all on my phone, which I usually do. A couple of things about this map. There's a map number 1, the city of Brisbane, including Spring Hill, Petrie Terrace, portion of the Valley, Kangaroo Point, and portion of East Melbourne. And you'll see there the thing that noticed off in 1916 that there isn't any Story Bridge, because it wasn't built until quite some time later. I don't know when later. So you can see that it just these roads just go to a dead end, right? It's the Petrie's Bright, and then there's something on the other side. Some of these roads no longer exist because they've been taken over by the bridge. Also, you'll notice all this writing around the outside is, Smith and Co. Sun Wharfs, Howard and someone, Davies Wharf, etc., etc. Another thing that's of interesting is that the fact that there's no Story Bridge, but there is one bridge, and if I can zoom in and find it over here, there it is. No, there's quite awesome passenger ferries, right? And over here, another passenger ferry. Where's the other bridge? The main bridge. There we are, the Victoria Bridge. Victoria Bridge was built then. In fact, there were a number of Victoria Bridges. The one that was built then actually got washed away in a flood. If you want to know more about what got washed away in the flood, you can see other videos. I'll show you about that. Not my videos, other people's videos. I forgot what else I was going to say, so I will quickly jump to another screen, right, which I will have a link to. Now I've got it already open somewhere. Okay. Where is it? There we are. What else I was going to show? Okay. Oop. Go to that. All right. So you see the Story Bridge, no Story Bridge, only Victoria Bridge, rail and tray lines and wharfs. I showed you the wharfs. Let's go back to the rail and tray lines, all right? Okay. You'll see also that there is the train line coming in there. There's a line coming in there, and it goes to South Brisbane, but that's the end. It doesn't go across the river. That didn't go across the river for probably, I don't know, another 50 or 60 years. I don't know when actually the train line went across the river. There was no bridge across the river. And also there was another train line, you'll notice, coming in here, coming along there. There's a post office it's South Brisbane, all right? So there's another train line coming there, and that was to deliver coal to the ships that came in there, all right, I believe. Botanical Gardens, Parliament House, all the streets in the city itself, and that's just that one. Wickham Terrace, Albert Park, Leichhardt Street, Normandy Grammar School, Gregory Terrace. It's interesting to look at these maps and compare them with the current maps that are available. You can do that if you're on a computer by having multiple screens open at the one time. On a phone, you can actually split the screen to do that. I won't show how to do that though. Also, there's a lot of tram lines. See this along there in Leichhardt Street, for example. There's that line going across there. That's a tram line, right? So there's tram lines in a lot of various places. They had trams. Wharf Street had a tram. That bit of Coin Street had a tram, right? Coin Street goes up that way, going back this other way. Coin Street. Does it go across to Coin Street down to the tram actually went across the Victoria Bridge, right, into South Brisbane. Right. So that's enough about that map, right? The reason I'm showing all this is so that people can do their own investigation. I'm just showing a couple of things that I've found. As I said, I find it quite fascinating to be able to go through street directories, old street directories, and look at the difference. One of the I'll just look at it. I'll just go to my reference screen again and look at some other maps. Where am I? All right. So South Brisbane is on map 42. Let's go and have a look at South Brisbane. All right. Okay. Just jump back again. Okay. So if I just touch the screen there, and I can touch there and type in 42. This is an Acrobat reader on a phone. There we are. There's South Brisbane. Alternatively, you can just scroll up the screen, right, until you go through it. But I've looked at these before and I know what they are. There's the Kangaroo point there, and there's South Brisbane. All right. Once again, Victoria Bridge. No trams. Oh yeah, there's a tram there in Vulture Street. All right. Okay. Highgate Hill. All right. Hill End. Didn't know there was a place called Hill End. One of the other things I've worked out, there's a number of suburbs that just don't exist anymore. They're called something else. Perhaps one of the things is about doing this a street directory is, they even say in the street directory, there's a lot of names that are repeated, and they tried to fix that up. And there are names that are streets that got certain names. They don't call them those same names anymore. Go and have a look at some other stuff. Okay, I won't go there. All right, I'll go to my reference material then. Hamilton is an example. Got a proposed racecourse. Let's have a look at it. It's on page 61. So let's go to Hamilton. So I'll just go to that, type in page 61, go to there. Okay. So there's the suburb of Hendra. All right. You'll notice it's got the Ascot racecourse there, and it's got Dubin Park, proposed racecourse. Wasn't open in 1916. All right. So that's an interesting thing. Also, you'll notice down on the river here, the road is called the Hamilton Road. Hamilton Road. Don't know what that rough thing is on the water and the bridge there, but it's called Hamilton Road. That's now called Kingford Smith Drive. Kingford Smith Drive wasn't called Kingsford Smith Drive then because Mr. Kingsford Smith hadn't flown from wherever he flew from, America to Australia or wherever he flew from. So it wasn't as famous then. So as a consequence, in 1916, it was given a different name. So they changed the name to suit the people at the time. Let's look at a couple of other things. All right. Hamilton Road. And in Chelmer on map 93, there's no Indooroopilly Bridge. Let's have a look. All right. So 93. Oops. I didn't want to do that. Okay. Map 93. On page 93. It's not map 93. Okay. There we are. This is another one. But another thing about these, I found about these things, they don't necessarily have the maps northward facing upwards. Okay, that's the Indooroopilly Reach in Brisbane. And once again, there's no Indooroopilly Bridge. There's no Indooroopilly Rail Bridge, a road bridge. There is an Indooroopilly Rail Bridge, only one of them at the time. Later on, became two. But you'll notice there's a vehicular ferry, a ferry for vehicles, where Indooroopilly is. And notice these swamp areas, they're now parks. If you look up the parks and see on later maps and see what there is. They're actually a park now. All right, let's see what else we can show you. Okay. Oh, right, wrong one, screen. Go back to that one. This is changing tabs. And on the Duckman Park one, on map on page 111, so we'll just go to page 111. Got to go back to that. Get confused where I'm going to. All right. 111. Okay. There's Dutton Park Railway Station, Brisbane Jail, what's called now the Bogger Road Jail, which still exists. All right. There's a whole lot of buildings there though. But this is interesting. Don't know how you pronounce it. Diamanatry Hospital. Diamanatry Hospital. That's the PA hospital, Princess Alexandra Hospital, now called the Princess Alexandra Hospital. It's called the Diamanatry Hospital. And also at the back of it is the Blind, Deaf and Dumb Institute. I don't think they use the term dumb anymore, deaf and dumb. Don't ever hear that terminology used. So the Diametric Hospital, let's have a look. I think I found something about the Diametric Hospital. See if I can go to my webpage and see if I've got that there. There we are. When it loads up, should have loaded by now. Brisbane Living Heritage. Come on, load up. This is the Diametric Healthcare Museum, is located in the historical precinct dispenser house in the grounds of the Princess Alexandra Hospital, Annerley. It's the only remaining building from the original Diamantia, or how you pronounce that, hospital, and was built in 1909 for the dispenser, Frederick Stubauser. Anyway, so in other words, that building there wasn't even built when in that photo there, when the street directory was done. But that's the only building remaining of that part of the hospital. Obviously, even the old building that was there didn't remain. There's a new building at the PA hospital now. Okay, so just go back to where I was. Okay, so that's that there. Once again, tram stops. There's actually a tram depot there opposite the hospital, but this map doesn't go down to that far. Be able to see that. Okay. All right. What else have I got? I just got one more map I wanted to show, I think. Where am I? Okay. There was a suburb called Ironside. So I'll go to map the page 131. By the way, these are the physical the pages in the PDF document. It's 131, which is not the page of the document, and it's not definitely different than the map number. So I'll go page 131. So we'll go there, touch that, go to 131. Okay. Okay, this map is called Ironside. Now I looked it up, couldn't find anything to do with Ironside, right? Although there isn't any suburb called Ironside anymore. It's actually an area. Ironside is actually an area which is basically near where Queensland University is. It was called Ironside. It's called Ironside apparently because of the school it was called the Ironside School, and there's actually an Ironside Road. And the only reason I could find it is I looked up that bit there, the Sandy Creek. Looked up Sandy Creek, found what that is, found the area that it is there. So that doesn't exist anymore, Ironside per se, as a suburb anyway. When I did all this, I also decided to look, before I did this video, of old street directories, all right? And I decided what I'll check to see if someone's already made a video about old street directories. Now, some people have used various pages out of old street directories, but nobody's done a video on YouTube of old street directories of Brisbane. So I decided to, wherever I can find it, to do one. So that's what I did to start with. I went and had a look and looked up in the search of old street directories of Brisbane, right? And this is all I could find in terms of videos. Somebody travelling Brisbane old boundary streets. What do they mean? It's well worthwhile watching these videos. For example, this guy walks around the streets of Brisbane, and he walked around the old boundary streets. There was something about the boundary streets were given boundary names because of the Aboriginal situation at the time. All right, I'll let him to explain that. If you want to go to this, if you go to YouTube and type in old street directory of Brisbane, you should get all these links. Solving mystery about Brisbane street names. Okay, Brisbane 1891 to 1900 historical photographs of Brisbane. Now, I've captured some of these off this video, only for demonstration purposes. So I'll see if I can go and call up some of these photos. All right, and where am I? There we go. Righto, and I will go to home. I need to go somewhere else. I'll go there. Right. Screenshots. There's a photo of the Story, where the Story Bridge now is. I don't know when this photo was taken. It's Brisbane from Bowen Terrace. I get the impression the 1800s or something. All right. So looks completely different to what it does today, doesn't it? Great big bridge there and all sorts of buildings and stuff like that. Let's see if we can go back to another one. One of the things I found, which is going to be really good for me, is by looking at one of those other videos, is there's this book at the Queensland Library, which isn't online, but it's on microfilm, called the Queensland Post Office and Official Directory. That one's in 1907. There was a number of those apparently. So you can go to the Queensland Library, ask to look at the microfilm, and call up all the information that's in this. There's a person that made a video on this and shows how to do it. I'll point out that video later on. I've got a similar sort of directory of Melbourne, but it's digitized and I have it online. I have it on my phone, on my computers. So it'd be nice if that was all digital and get it online. All right. Okay. That's this one. There's the construction of the Story Bridge. There's the area where a later photo of where the Story Bridge ended up being. And a lot of these houses got disappeared because of that. There's the Victoria Bridge from the Treasury Building towards South Brisbane and Mount Gunther in 1897, obviously before those street directories were done. Okay. We're constructing the second Indooroopilly Railway Bridge. Now, I didn't even know there was a second one, but there was, or there is now. It's 2 railway bridges. And the Indooroopilly Railway Bridge in 1885. Okay. Is that all I've got? Oh, George Street, Brisbane in 1900. Notice it's a tram. All right. I wasn't sure. View of Victoria Bridge in Brisbane in 1897. All right. This is all in a in that video, which I'll just quickly go back to and show you. And if you want to look at that video, there's lots of other photos of Brisbane at that particular time. I'll just go to, where is it? There. Okay. This one is well worth a video looking at. It's called The World Around Us. World Around Us was a TV program on Channel 7, right? Unfortunately, the quality is not too good, right, compared to today's standards. And it's a newsreader, whoever he was on Channel 7, goes over a number of things that happen in Brisbane, and it's well worthwhile watching. Lots of information you find out about. The force area of the growth of the commercial activity, South Brisbane coal wharfs, right? That American one doesn't. This is an interesting one. Brisbane 1964 Life in Australia. It's in 4K, right, high resolution, in 1964. So it was obviously done on film, and they've digitised the film in 4K. I'll go into this, see if I can play bits of it. All right. This is done by the National Film and Sound Archive. All right. Hopefully it's going to come up. All right. Yep. Okay. And it shows what life was in Brisbane in 1964. All right. There's part of it. All right. I'll just quickly jump through bits of it. Okay. Well, one thing, I want to go back to the beginning. It's interesting, the telephone.
The owner is Gil Felton, a builder, a foreman carpenter on big projects.
I can't think of it.
He has a wife and 2 children.
Looks about the old telephone system in the stock exchange. Look how good the quality of the video is. It's in 4K. Right? So well worthwhile looking at the history. Apparently the National Film and Sound Archive did this, all this information, produced all these films. The Commonwealth of Australia produced all these films. They're now at the National Film and Sound Archive, and they did so that I'll just turn the sound down. They did so that they were. And by the way, this is the computerized telephone exchange at the day. Wow, didn't look fancy, as opposed to those switchboards. Anyway, they made these films about Brisbane because they wanted to get a whole lot of people to come to Brisbane, so they look how great Brisbane is, and there it's all there. If you want to, definitely worthwhile having a look at that. As I said, if you do a search on YouTube for old street directories of Brisbane, that's the sort of thing that comes up. Okay. All right. That's about it from me, I think. Is there anything else I wanted to do? Oh, there's a couple of other videos. Old houses and how they look up old houses. Ghost stations in Brisbane. Railway stations that used to be there that are no longer there. A guy does a whole thing like that. Brisbane City in the Sun. That's another National Film and Sound Archive thing. Once again, promoting Brisbane for people to come to Brisbane. Right, that's it. If you've got any questions, put it in the comments or email me if you can find my email address. Other than that, goodbye. Cheers.